On a chilly December morning in 1989, an ordinary brown package arrived at the Vance family's suburban Alabama home. With the holiday season in full swing, receiving mail packages was a common occurrence. But this package was anything but common. As federal appeals judge Robert Vance opened the small brown parcel in his kitchen, it detonated, taking his life instantly and leaving his wife, Helen, with severe injuries. A mere 2 days later, a chillingly similar scene unfolded in Atlanta. Attorney Robert Robertson became the next unsuspecting victim of a mail bomb. The nation watched in stunned disbelief. It was inconceivable that someone would exploit the holiday season to carry out such vile acts. The question on everyone's lips was, who could possibly target public servants with mail bombs during a time of peace and goodwill? Quick to respond, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, along with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives and U.S. Postal Inspectors, embarked on a daunting task. The magnitude of the investigation was overwhelming. It was like searching for a needle in a haystack, but there was no room for error. Every scrap of evidence was a potential lead, a possible breakthrough. They meticulously examined the remnants of the bombs, tracing back the package's paths through the seemingly impenetrable maze of the postal system. A lengthy list of suspects was compiled, with no stone left unturned. In the midst of this painstaking process, a ray of hope emerged. An expert from the ATF had a sudden recollection, a memory from a case 17 years prior. A chilling sense of déjà vu washed over him as he recognized the bomb design. His realization was the breakthrough they desperately needed. The suspect from that long cold case was none other than Walter Leroy Moody. Walter Leroy Moody was not your typical criminal. His history with explosives dated back to the early 1970s when he was convicted for possessing a bomb that unintentionally blew up, injuring his first wife. This incident was the result of his initial attempt to target a car dealer who had repossessed his vehicle. After serving a 4-year sentence in federal prison, Moody's resentment towards the judicial system had festered, becoming something far more toxic and deep-seated. This intricate knowledge of explosives and a profound disdain for the courts became the cornerstone of a calculated vendetta. Yet, Moody was meticulous, meaning that connecting him to the bombings required an equally sophisticated approach. Investigators embarked on an extensive probe into Moody's recent activities, scrutinizing purchases, phone records, contacts, and even conducting surveillance on him. As the walls closed in, Moody, perhaps feeling the heat, continued to deny any involvement, discussing elements of his case out loud while alone in his cell as though rehearsing his defense. What happens when one man's anger against a legal system spirals into a chilling saga of domestic terrorism? The case of Walter Leroy Moody is an unsettling reminder of the havoc one individual can wreak on a society. Moody harbored a deep-seated resentment against the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit, which had rejected his appeal to expunge a previous bomb possession conviction. Though Judge Vance had no direct involvement in Moody's appeals, he became an emblem of Moody's broader grievances against the judiciary. The subsequent bombs, dispatched to the NAACP office in Jacksonville and the federal courthouse in Atlanta, were likely a devious ploy to misdirect investigators and imply a racially charged hate crime. As investigators pieced together this macabre jigsaw, a formidable prosecution led by future FBI Director Louis Freeh formed a robust case against Moody. The trial was grueling, punctuated by Moody's efforts to muddy his links to the bombings, but the evidence was irrefutable. On June 28, 1991, Moody was convicted on over 70 charges related to the bombings and sentenced to several life terms without parole. Moody's conviction could not resurrect those he had murdered or completely mend the scars of those impacted. Nevertheless, it was a stark reminder of the extent of hostility that can propel individuals to commit heinous acts. His execution in 2018 at the age of 83 marked the end of one of the most malevolent cases of domestic terrorism in American history. Moody's case continues to be a crucial part of the FBI's legacy in managing domestic terrorism and safeguarding public officials. It emphasizes the value of painstaking investigative work, collaboration between agencies, and an unwavering commitment to the nation's safety and security. As we ponder these events, we commemorate not just the lives lost and communities disrupted, but also the resilience and dedication of those who relentlessly pursued justice.